IT Training Services International is an organization focused on the creation or repositioning of environmental variables to create the best conditions for individuals and teams in your company to learn, establish, or improve new IT skills. All training events should be about enabling people to learn. We use the word training to name these events, but training is something that is done to you. Learning is something that you've got to take responsibility for. So at ITTSI, we focus on creating the environment and the variables so that it enables a team or individual to learn, taking responsibility for the effort of learning, making that information your own, and carrying that back into the workplace to achieve a goal that was set up prior to the learning event. Well, actually, quite a couple of things, but I'll name three. First off, learning events tend to be not that. Very often, they are simply tick box exercises that form part of a to-do list on a project plan. Secondly, there's huge pressure all around for people to learn more and learn that faster. There's less and less time for training to happen or learning to happen. And I understand that. And then the last point that I want to make is that whenever there's a budget cut or cost to be reduced, training's always the first in line for that exercise. And that's unfortunate, because if you don't equip people with the new skill, your project's most likely not going to be a success, or at least not as successful as it could have been. Yes, absolutely, a resounding yes. I have 20 years worth of stories around training, and every success story is a story of a multidisciplinary team that banded together to make sure that learning happened, and that learning continued happening post that project. I'll try to put it into a nutshell, but it's going to be a big one. So essentially there's three things that you can do. Firstly, we're in a privileged position to train for Microsoft, and Microsoft provides a huge amount of free online courses. So your users can prepare for their training engagement prior to that learning event. Secondly, ensure that the user interface is designed in such a way that it provides a guide for the user to complete their process. Very often in class, I come to the realization that the design of the form forces the user to switch tabs or to scroll to find fields that are next in a sequential process. Lastly, by the time that you get an instructor in class, be it a virtual instructor-led training session or a in-person instructor-led training session, be sure that that session is a confirmation of the actual process. The trainer should not be training basics. There are exceptions to the rule, but the trainer should during that event allow people to explore the application, to run through scenarios and complete exercises that mimic the processes that they would need to complete back at the workplace. That increases the value of the learning in class exponentially. Rather than have the guys sit through introductory exercise of click here and navigate like this, you get them to use the software as a tool to resolve the problems that they will encounter in the workplace on a daily basis. One last thing, you can't really speed up the pace of learning. Everybody pretty much learns at the same pace, but one thing does help a lot: repetition. So where possible, if you can spread your course over multiple sessions and have people return to the class to continue learning, that helps a lot, because people start to realize that they already know quite a bit, and the prospect of learning more is not as frightening as when you sit through one 6-hour or 8-hour session and you try and cram everything into your head in that one single session. Oh, very simple. Badgers are highly intelligent, inquisitive hunters, and they are persistent at what they do. And because of these traits, they learn quickly and they learn well. So if you have the same traits, you'll find all those answers about badges spread all around our site.